Canadian YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews back to yet another review. And it is Imperial Stout time in the form of Weyerbacher's Sunday Morning Stout. Brand new offering from Weyerbacher. Never had this before because it came out 7 days ago. But Weyerbacher's not too far away from me, and I procured a couple 4-packs of this sucker, so super excited to give it a whirl. Actually heard a decent amount of buzz over the past week of people kind of telling me I need to get a hold of this beer in such a short period of time. It's kind of unique, even though the brewery is not too far away from me. So I'm really excited to give it a whirl. Apparently what this beer is that they have a Belgian style stout called Tiny. They believe, this is from information I got, from a third party, so take that with a grain of salt. But it's their Tiny, but instead of using a Belgian yeast, they used just an American-based yeast, and then it was filtered through coffee, and then it was aged in Four Roses bourbon barrels. Not quite sure how long, but yeah, coffee stout aged in bourbon barrels. Not too bad. There's a couple of them floating out there, so hopefully this is good or better than those. As far as what it says on the bottle, Weyerbacher Sunday Morning Stout. Stout aged in bourbon barrels with coffee, 11.3% alcohol by volume. And that is it. Other than that, it was bottled, born on date, whatever you want to call it, about a week ago, week and a half ago, not even a week and a half ago. And it says good for 2 years, but 11.83% coffee stout. I mean, the coffee will die on it, but it should last a little longer than 2 years. So yeah. Label-wise, it's alright. Weyerbacher's labels don't really do much for me. They're not bad, they're just a little bit off. I'm not a huge fan of the Jester thing, but that's, again, personal preference. But yeah, not too shabby. It's all about what's inside, so let's see what the sucker has to offer. Okay. Holy good God, that is dark. Yes, that is a stout. I mean, it doesn't get much darker than that. Yeah, not much in the bottle. I mean, it's been sitting for, what? Let's see, a little over a week and a half. It had a head on it. It was lighter when I first poured it. It got darker as it went, as it's been receding down. It's almost gone, as you can see. Decently creamy kind of middle top to it, but it's receding super fast on the edges. It has this really dark richness to it. It's like a combination of this kind of coffee cream color with this dark richness to it. Body-wise, I mean, color, I'm not even going to try to get a little bit of light out of this sucker, because when I poured it, I mean, it was dark as dark could possibly be. Yeah, so, I mean, that looks like an Imperial Stout. Let's see what she has in the nose. It's huge. Bourbon. Like a lot of char. A lot of burnt, like, sugars, too. Almost like a molasses, like it's intense coffee. But that bourbon is really big right there. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge nose. Unique nose, too. I mean, it's probably the most, it's hard to dissect exactly what's going on there. It smells like an overly burnt, overly charred barrel. Like an overly smoked kind of bourbon to it. Yeah. And the coffee's there, but it's bourbon first, coffee second, roasted malts third. I mean, it smells huge. So yeah. I mean, it looks the part. It smells the part. Let's see if she tastes the part. Cheers. It's a nice beer. First things first. Huge bourbon forward. Huge bourbon forward. Probably a little bit too much, but I say that with this caveat. It's a week old, So I think, and since it was literally bottled a week ago, it's not, I didn't get it a week ago. It's bottled a week ago. I think just even a month or two is just going to kind of settle that down and kind of even that out a little bit. Like I said, that bourbon char, that charred barrelness is huge in it. It's probably one of the biggest ones I've ever had in any beer. It's like up for in your face, and it works. It's almost like almost adds like a smokiness to it, and it works for me. The coffee's there, but almost kind of in spirit as opposed to being a bigger player. It's probably just a skosh bigger in the nose than it actually is in the mouth. It's there, but it's, you can tell it's like, I believe, like I said, could be wrong, I'm almost positive I'm right though, it was filtered through coffee as opposed to brewed with the coffee. You know, that could have something to do with it, but it's there, but it's not a huge prominent player. And it's like that roasted malt is there, but it's just that bourbon is super big on the front. It's kind of overpowering almost everything, but not necessarily a bad way. And like I said, it's kind of like that thing where it's so new. I think it's going to work out as a positive in the long run. Mouthfeel is just what you want for a nice Imperial Stout. Yeah, it's not a bad beer. I just think it needs to mature a little bit. But here's the thing. I think it's going to mature into something amazing. Not that it's not amazing now. Right now, I would give it a rating of a 90. A flat 90. I think it's gonna. I think in 6 months this is gonna be infinitely world class, like 95 plus. Just based off assumption, based off of what I'm tasting right now. I just think it's a little bit green, and it needs to mature just a little bit, and it needs to mature in the bottle. I think the barrel character is perfect for the beer that is in there. A lot of times people, you know, the beer overpowers the barrel overpowers the beer. In this case, how fresh it is. In this instance, right now, the bourbon and that barrel is just bigger than the beer itself, but I think that's just a newness thing. I think that is going to level out and harmonize perfectly, maybe even just a month from now or 2 months from now. I can't wait to try this in the future. I think this is going to be an absolute under-the-radar, super awesome beer that people covet, man. It's just going to be I don't want to use the word like trade fodder, but I mean it's going to be something that people can search out. It's just that good of a beer, or it's going to be. It is now, but it's going to be infinitely better in the months to come. It's a little bit warm right now. I tasted it close to room temperature, per suggestions of two of my friends that had it. I kind of want to make it, and when I say room temperature, I mean room temp. It's probably about 65 degrees. I kind of want to get this in around 55 degrees and kind of taste its evolution from warming up, just to see how it kind of opens up on me. But right now, the way it stands, yeah, I think this is going to be a game changer for Weyerbacher, to be perfectly honest with you. And I think it's a beer people should try to get a hold of if they can. Like I said, rating wise, I give it a 90 overall. Value and availability. Availability, I know they didn't make a ton of it, but with me living about an hour away from the brewery, it's available. I haven't seen it in stores, but I've been able to get it through friends of mine who kind of got it from a couple places, distributors that got some cases. So availability right now in northeastern Pennsylvania, in the Lehigh Valley, I would give it a 8. For everybody else, I'd give it like a 2. I know it got sent to Jersey and I believe Delaware also. Value. I paid $13 for a 4-pack. Yeah, that's a 10 on a value scale, because that's just ridiculous. I mean, it's typically, it tastes like a mixture of some of the bigger barrel-aged coffee stout beers. If you were to take some of the Wales or whatever you want to call them, some of the bigger ones from some Midwest companies, you kind of mixed them together and kind of made like somewhere in between or met in the middle. Yeah, it's an interesting take, and I think it's a nice take from the folks down there in beautiful eastern Pennsylvania. So yeah. Yeah. This beer is going to mature crazy. I'm so glad I have a decent amount of it. I'm going to open a bottle a month, 6 in a year, and hopefully get more from there. So yeah, I mean, if you're into, let's do that. If you are into, let's see, KBS, if you are into Bourbon County Stout, or more particular, their coffee stout, if you're into beers like that, this is a beer you want to check out. And that's all I have to say about that. Just really nice effort from Weyerbacher. I mean, like I said, kind of sounds like I'm not poo-pooing on it in any way whatsoever. I'm really almost super excited to be drinking this beer. It's a great beer now. I just taste how awesome it's going to be in the months coming. So, yeah. So, like I said, KBS, what did I say? KBS, Bourbon County Coffee Stout, Avery Tweak. If you like those beers, you should give this a whirl. Try to track some down because it's just that good of a beer. So there you go. Avery. Weyerbacher's Sunday Morning Stout, a stout aged in bourbon barrels with coffee. Good beer. Probably an understatement, but a good beer. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. If you did or didn't or somewhere in between, please leave a comment in the comment section below. And if you liked and all that stuff, like, subscribe, and yada, yada, yada. If you like, check us out anywhere else on the internet. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Untapped. Massive beers in all 4 of those places. And so, yeah. Another review down. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a beautiful coffee stout aged in bourbon barrels right now. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.